Hello and welcome to War Scholar Book Chat on the Full Contact Nerd Twitch channel. Welcome back. Today I'm looking at hardcover military history and history books published February 11th, 2021. As always, the idea is I look at all the books released today, hardcover, and whichever ones, it's like imagine a stack of books at the library and bookstore, and I pick one that I'd want to take home and read. And there were a fair amount for today, but I pulled a few from yesterday also that I didn't seem to be able to go over. So I'll just show you the book covers for a few seconds each one. We have 7 military history and a little more than that in general history. And as always, I archive this on my YouTube channel, War Scholar. So first book, we have The West's War Against Islamic State, Operation Inherent Resolve in Syria and Iraq. 192 pages, so this is a history of this U.S. military operation against ISIS. Looks interesting, kind of short. Short History of Revolutionary Cuba, released today. That's 248 pages from Bloomsbury. A short history from 59 to present day. So this is more, seems to be general history maybe. This is only partially military, so this one wins out. Maybe I should put this on the other side, but there you go. Contested water, subnational scale water and conflict in Pakistan, 128 pages. So transboundary water conflicts in the Indus Basin in Pakistan. So sort of local conflicts, I guess maybe not quite civil war, but violent conflict maybe. So anyway, this is very specific. I'm still more interested in that one. So, The French Revolution, A History and Documents, released today, Bloomsbury, 312 pages. Explores the rapidly evolving political culture of the French Revolution through first-hand accounts. Documents radical Enlightenment philosophy. Provides general introduction. So covers all kinds of arguments made for democratization to the authoritarian pronouncements of Napoleonic rule. This seems really interesting, and I'm a big enthusiast of this period of the French Revolution and Napoleonic Wars, so that beats this out. The French Revolution is winning out here. Navigating by the Southern Cross, a history of, again, why is this in, this should not be in history. I'm going to pull this over to the other side, to general history. That's the one I looked at. Terrorist profiling and law enforcement. So terrorism, Routledge, 258 pages. So this sort of borders the line between violent crime, terrorism versus sort of organized military terrorism. So terrorist profiling, this is sort of a reference book. So French Revolution, and that's a reference book too, I guess. But French Revolution wins out. And then Nazis and Nobles, the history of a misalliance. Oxford University Press, almost 500 pages. Little has been said about the role of the German nobility in the Nazis' rise to power. The fateful role, but no one's really investigated what the role actually was. German nobility was too weak to prevent the revolution of 1918, but strong enough to take part in the struggle against the Weimar Republic. So, interesting. So, this is a source book, so that's really interesting, but if it's just a reference book, not just, I shouldn't say just, a history and documents about the revolution. Okay, so, actually I think this one will win out. Yeah, this one wins out, but I'm not. keep this here for a second because I want to interview this author. So I'll contact him. So now we are going to look at general history topics, and we have about it. I'll go through these slowly, about 3 seconds each one, so you can see what we're looking at. Oh, I have this one on this side too. There you go. Domestic history of the Victorian Foreign Office. Forgotten women in history. Material culture history. Cowboy presidents. The frontier myth in U.S. politics. So I have American politics and world politics books here too, but this isn't to get political. This is more to study what's out there and different ideas. So here we go. We will start with archaeology, ancient history. So orator Demades, classical Greece, reimagined through rhetoric. So it's about this influential Athenian politician from 4th century BC, acquainted with the Macedonian king Philip II and Alexander the Great. So this is interesting. Music in ancient Greece. So I think that says it all. So soloists competed on stage for popular accolades. Bloomsbury 176. Interesting, but the friend of King Philip and Alexander wins out. Cowboy presidents. The frontier myth in American politics. University of Oklahoma Press. Again, looks interesting. I love history and all this stuff, but ancient Greece wins out. Writing material culture history. Bloomsbury Academic, 368 pages. Relationship between artifacts and historical narratives. Addresses the roles of museums. It's a cool look at that subject. But again, the ancient Greeks went out. Remembering Forgotten Women in History, collection of stories about wives, daughters, mothers, companions, etc. Thanks for typing movement. Bloomsbury 328. Again, this would probably be pretty enlightening, but I want to read about the Greek dude who published this again. Oxford, yeah, this is a good one. Servants of Diplomacy, a domestic history of the Victorian Foreign Office. Current literature focus on the higher echelons. He looks at the administrative and social history of Whitehall. That's interesting. Bloomsbury 256. But again, the Greeks went out. Heavenly Fatherland, German missionary culture and globalization in the Age of Empire. Because of their theology of Christian universalism, they worked against the bigoted racialism and ultranationalism of secular German empire building. So that's interesting. University of Toronto Press, 344 pages. So theological look at German expansionism and colonial culture. Interesting, but the Greek wins out again. Terrorist profiling, I just mentioned that earlier. Drop that in favor of the Greek guy. History of the European discovery and exploration of Australia. That looks cool. Bloomsbury 352. Pretty cool. Goes back to 18th century. New findings and drawing on the latest historiographical research. Nautical astronomy, cartography, imperial, colonial, and maritime history. The Greek wins out again. Islam and the governing of Muslims in France, secularism without religion. Will Islam be able to adapt to France's secularity and its strict separation of public and private spheres? Bloomsbury 312. Interesting modern topic. Offers a close analysis of French secularism as it has been debated by many. So, guess what? The Greek wins out again. So, there you have it. So the two winners, Nazis and nobles. and the Archaeology, and I will try to get interviews with both of these authors, and this one too. We'll see what we get out of it. So this I'm just keeping as an aside. This one gets taken home. So there you have it again. This is archived on YouTube, War Scholar, and I also post the links to the two chosen ones on Twitter, War Scholar. Oh, I'm sorry, YouTube, it's War Scholar 1945. I keep forgetting that. There's a guy, War Scholar, who doesn't use his channel. So War Scholar 1945. And yeah, and then on Facebook it's War Scholar too. Alright, so I will be back in a few minutes. I will do fiction books and nonfiction studies of sci-fi, fantasy, horror. So I will be right back.